So TV is one of the technologies that covers a lot of bigger area. And it is one of the familiar technologies that we use in many ways when we speak of distance education. This is because it is actually engaging, but it provides a medium that you can be able to use both visual and audio all together. And according to data, they say that 95 million of people in the sub-Saharan Africa possess TVs by 2018. And this has been one of the technologies that therefore can be used in many ways to be able to bring about technology, to bring about education to the children that may be stagnant or may be fixed in their homes. And there are many countries that have been practicing using TV in many ways to bring about technology or education in their classrooms, in their homes. And one of the countries, for instance, is Botswana, which uses what you call Botswana TV or BTV to provide daily educational programs to students, and especially in the areas of science and mathematics. And it reaches about 90% of the students in Botswana itself. We're using what you call the land type of transmission, but again, you have the remaining 10% of the broadcast being shared by using satellite television. But another country is also South Africa, which uses the Department of Basic Education to be able to provide TV educational programs to students in their homes as well, which implies therefore that this could be one of the advantages of using technology such as TV to bring about education to the classes, especially in the times when students are seated in their homes today. Because it covers large areas, but at the same time it can be able to occupy many students at one time. But here is a question to you. As a teacher, what are the things that you need to put in place when you are designing instruction for your students to be able to broadcast over a TV? You want to prepare materials or content for your students. What are the things that you need to put in place or you have to think of when designing materials or instructions for your students? Take your pen and paper and write down some responses. Okay, I'm sure that you might have come up with some of the points, like probably breaking the instructions into some smaller parts, but again, probably engaging into much more of the activities with your students. Well, there are many steps that you have to go through when you're designing instruction for your students. One is that you need to make preparations. Preparation would include things like converting your face-to-face normal lesson into what you call into a TV studio form of an instruction, which implies therefore that you need to break your session into small pieces so that the students cannot be able to get bored when you are actually delivering the session. But again, you need to do a little bit of check, look into what other teachers have been able to do using technology, especially on the TV. Maybe you could go to YouTube channel, be able to view some of the videos that teachers have been able to use or have been able to introduce during the TV, and use that as the basis for you to be able to move forward. So that is one part which you call planning. Now the next part you have to think of is preparation. That means you have to prepare yourself to go to deliver the instruction on the TV, which implies therefore that whenever you have a 1 hour session or a 40 minutes session with your students, you need to break that 40 minutes into probably a time of maybe 30 minutes each or 20 minutes each, so that your students are not overloaded with information, but at the same time, you give them time to breathe and be able to participate in the process of learning. So preparation is very important as you prepare your content for your students. But again, once you have prepared your content, you also need another step 3, which is actually to be able to do some rehearsal. Rehearsal means you need to practice, allow a little bit of warm-up, and if you can get time to go to the TV studio itself and take time to be able to practice and see how it works and maybe get familiarized with the environment in the TV studio, that will make it much more better for you, and you'll be able to deliver it much more easier in front of your students. So once you have now made a rehearsal, the next step, which is step number 4, is actually to be able to deliver your instruction. In this time, you have to go in front of the TV, sit there, and then start delivering your instruction. So as you are there, then first of all, you need to invite your students, allow them to take their pens and paper, and then inform them that you are starting your session now. So in the process, you can be able to include some of the activities that you have prepared for your students. And remember, the first few minutes are very, very, very important for you to prepare instruction that may be engaging, so that the students say, oh, should I keep on watching to this teacher or should I disconnect from watching him? So if you prepare your instructions much more, your first 3-4 minutes should be very important to be able to capture the attention of your students as you deliver your session. And of course, later on, try to encourage your students to be able to participate in many ways. Bring engagement in the process as you teach your students. And engagement in the area of TV can be done in many ways. You can be able to engage your students by using SMS, which means students where they are, they can be able to use their parents' smartphones or parents' normal phones, guardian normal phones, to be able to send text messages to you as a teacher, where you as a teacher now can be able to share responses to the students based on the SMS or questions that have come up from their side. And so the last part that you have to put into consideration is the interaction part. You need to put some sessions where the students can be able to interact with you in the studio, of which you need to introduce some technologies which can be available for many of them to be able to participate in the process. So interaction can be done in many ways. So the most common is to use SMS, which is actually using using SMS from a normal phone or a smartphone that has a question. And remember to, when you receive the questions, mention the name of the student who was contributed to the question, and then also name where he or she is coming from and the type of the question, and give the answers to the questions that are shared. So these are the basic issues that you have to think of when you're designing instruction for the TV. In the next part, we'll be discussing about continuation of this topic.